There's a lot of people that come to me in the DMs and stuff, and they're like, I've been streaming for 3 more months. I don't know what to do. I always tell them, stop streaming. Don't stream for 2, 3 days a week,
Yeah.
and that's it. And then the rest of your time, you should be editing content. You should be an editor foremost. You should
Mm-hmm.
be an editor and then a streamer.
Yeah.
Like you should be editing 24/7, and then when you can, you should be streaming,
Mm-hmm.
is my opinion. Because the only way to get your stream out there is via short form content, YouTube content. That's the only way. That's the only search engine that'll really push your stuff out. Twitch
Yeah.
isn't a search engine, or at least I don't think anybody uses that as one.
No.
I've never gone onto Twitch and typed into the thing, the Tarkov content, and then
Right.
gone through you just watch the people you watch, and if you don't watch them, you don't watch them.
Yeah.
Hey, she's a beauty.
Welcome to Tarducks, a podcast for content creators to come on, share their stories, experiences, and advice. And today I have Franky. Welcome.
Hey, welcome back. Hi, Barry. Welcome to my podcast, actually.
There we
No,
go.
thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you for having me. It's really sick to be here.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, Franky is an editor, and he's worked with a ton of people in a lot of people in the Tarkov space that you're familiar with. And we'll hear all about his story during this whole pod.
Yeah, excited to share it.
All right. So what we do to warm things up is we do sort of 3 random questions. So are you ready?
Mm-hmm. I'm ready.
All right.
Hit me.
Favorite season of the year?
Favorite season of the year. South Africa gets pretty hot in the summer, so I don't know if it's summer. And then conversely, in the winter, it gets quite cold. So I would say probably spring is probably
Yeah.
my favorite. I've got a motorcycle, and so motorcycling in the spring is kind of ideal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to say spring.
Nice.
Fall gets a bit dicey with the leaves on the road and
Yeah.
stuff, and going around corners with a lot of leaves. It's not great. It's spring, I think.
All
Spring
right.
for sure. Yeah.
And now define cold, because I'm from Canada originally. So cold has a
not
different level.
that cold. No, it's cold for Africa, so you gotta think locally here. No, for us, I think it kind of just gets down to like 5 Celsius.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely freezing for us. I think last night it got down to like 9, and
Yeah.
I just couldn't go outside at all. So yeah, cold is pretty relative, I guess.
All right.
Definitely not anywhere close to Canada.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw a video of you. You experienced some Canada-like temperatures, I think. You were up northern the U.S. experiencing snow. Was that your first time seeing snow?
No. Well, you did your research. That's interesting. No, that was not my first time. Although that was definitely the coldest that I've ever been. I think it was -25 C
Yep.
up there, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. Was not prepared for that whatsoever, and I
Yeah.
don't even have the clothes. I was like borrowing people's
Oh,
clothes and
no.
people's boots and stuff. But not the first time I've seen snow, but definitely the coldest I've ever
Yeah,
been. That's
nice.
for sure. Yeah.
All right. Second question. What was the last movie or TV show you watched?
Last piece of media that I watched in general was a movie, and it was the Barbie movie. I
Oh,
watched with my
okay.
girlfriend. Yeah.
And
yeah.
how was it?
It was good. I loved it. Like specifically the production value of it was insane.
Yeah.
I think my girlfriend's like biggest pet peeve with me is that whenever she watches stuff with me, I always try to pause and like analyze everything about the movie, especially the editing and
Yeah.
production and stuff like that. So I think on that front, the movie did great because
Yeah.
there's a lot of like really cool practical effects that they did. And the set design was beautiful, and the acting was fine, but more so just the visuals kind of
Yeah.
blew me away. I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
Nice.
it's great.
Yeah, one of my movies that I really enjoyed from an editing aspect of things was Snatch with Brad Pitt. It's a Guy Ritchie film.
Snatch. I don't think I've seen that, but I love Guy Ritchie.
It is the way they shot different angles. You know, there's one point one of the sort of the muscle guys goes, my gun, the fact that it says Desert Eagle, and it zooms in onto the gun, Desert Eagle 5.0, and then back to the guy's look on their face, and just it's so well done.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch that. I haven't seen that yet. Yeah.
Yeah, like the first opening like 2 minutes of it is like a single shot. But it's these guys going into the elevator, transferring up, and the cameras, them basically getting to the room. And it's so well done.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. I think my favorite director, I I forgot his name now, but he did the Grand Budapest Hotel, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh,
I
okay,
forgot his name.
yes.
People in the comments are probably screaming at me right now, but his stuff is absolutely phenomenal. Also, like super specific about how he wants stuff shot and stuff,
Yeah.
and absolutely love it. It's really really good. Yeah, no, a big movie head, but
Yeah.
my memory is horrible, so I keep forgetting. Wes Anderson,
Oh,
guy
okay,
behind
yeah.
me just
Nice.
DM'd me. Yeah, Wes Anderson. Yeah, I absolutely
Nice.
love that guy.
Yeah, one more thing on Snatch. The one of the really cool things was it was kind of like an indie low budget, even though Brad Pitt and Jason Statham is in it. It's they had minimal extras, so when they were shooting like the boxing scene around a boxing ring,
Uh-huh.
they would
Yeah.
basically move the extras around to fill in. So it's like,
Oh, that's
yeah.
hilarious.
So yeah, you got to
Yeah,
check that out.
I've seen also a similar like boxing scene. I've seen somewhere recently where where they were doing like a UFC movie.
Yeah.
I think it's not out yet. And they actually went to an actual UFC event and like hijacked the whole event to like shoot a scene in the ring with the actual crowd and
Yeah.
everyone. And then they kind of just took them off and then the actual event actually happened afterwards. So
Oh,
it's
that's
kind of funny
cool.
how they kind of probably saved a little bit of money to not hire that many extras or
Right.
have to do that much CGI. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, third, this is not turning into the rapid questions, but the third question
Yeah.
we have is, what are you going to miss? So you're moving to Scotland from Africa. What are you going to miss most?
Yes. Ooh, the weather I think is
Yeah.
probably the biggest thing because I've heard Scotland's pretty gloomy and rainy and cold.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm gonna miss quite a lot. But I think the thing I'm gonna miss the most is this. We got a little office here, and I'm gonna miss the guys in the office. I'm gonna
Ah,
miss coming in every day and stuff like that.
yeah.
That'll probably be it. Yeah.
All right.
A lot of stuff's gonna change, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think this is the thing that I'll miss the most. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Don't want to give them too much props, but it's fun
No.
being in the office with them. Yeah.
All right. So before you became an editor into the Tarkov space with a lot of personalities, where are you from? So you're from Africa. You grew up there, South Africa. What
Yeah.
what did you what did you do before you found the editing space, editing world?
Right. Well, I was always a big gamer. Yeah, born and raised in South Africa in the Western Cape, so like super south, like the southmost point of Africa all the way down.
Yeah.
That's where I was born and raised in a little town called Stellenbosch, kind of known for their vineyards and wine and
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
My dad was a winemaker. And then grew up there, and then started slowly but surely getting into PC gaming. Played Call of Duty 4, I think was like my first purchased PC game that I started playing. Um, my dad finally bought that for me after I begged him for it. And then slowly but surely just fell in love with gaming in general. My academics kind of suffered because of that, but
Mhm.
it was a fantastic what's the word like it was a fantastic pastime and hobby that I really enjoyed. Not
Mhm.
many people actually did any kind of gaming in my school.
Oh,
Maybe it was
really?
like just because it was yeah, a long time ago, but not really many people gamed back then. I don't think it was as accessible as it is now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of just fell in love with gaming, mostly Call of Duty, and slowly but surely kind of started watching content about the games that I was playing,
Yeah.
as most people do. You play a game, you also watch the content relevant to that game. So that's where I kind of slowly but slowly got into YouTube and the content on it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I could do this thing, so let me try and make videos on YouTube
Nice.
about these games. So I was like sharing clips and stuff of my gameplay moments, and that's where I kind of self-taught video editing and everything that comes along with it, like a bit of graphic design, a
Yeah.
bit of this and that, Photoshop. Um, and yeah, became a little bit proficient in it. Wasn't great by any means,
Uh-huh.
but I got by and slowly but surely, like, started growing a little bit of a following. And eventually, I think I got to around 800 uploads on my YouTube channel, and it just wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
That was very obvious to me, so I was like, okay, screw it, I'm gonna stop this now before I get too deep in. And I'm going to start to offer my services up to other people who already have
Okay.
a following.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, a few years later, here I am. So yeah.
Very cool. So now those early gaming, there's Call of Duty. You know, I saw YouTube clips of your PUBG.
Yes, a lot
Yeah,
of PUBG.
yeah. And now, you know, so that's sort of, it seems to a lot of people who start creating content, that's what they start with is their highlights. That's the first thing they create. And then one of the
Mm.
things that I liked about PUBG is the fact that you have your recorded gameplay after. So you can start changing camera angles and you know, putting
Yeah,
that together.
yeah. Yeah, props that you went back and looked at all that stuff. That's great. That's one thing that I think we're missing in Tarkov. And
Yeah.
when I was working with Pest, I kept bugging Pestily to ask Nikita about the replay feature because
Yeah.
that's the only thing I cared about. I was like,
Right.
I want to be able to make really cool videos. And I remember how, like you mentioned, PUBG had that tool set where you could go. PUBG being a battle royale, it had like one game, everything gets
Yes.
filmed, all the data gets collected, and then you can load that data back into your client, and you can replay the whole game
Yeah.
from a bird's eye view or whatever angle you want to, and
Yeah.
you can replay it as many times as you want. You can slow it down. You can view other people's perspectives. You can do anything you want, and that was a great tool for making content. Um, and absolutely loved that about it. But now that we're in Tarkov, it's you just don't have anything like
Yeah.
that. So
That's true.
that was fantastic. It was just a great tool for telling
Yeah.
story and getting different angles and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, really really like that. Yeah.
And now today, what, you know, do you play much? Do you do much gaming today?
I wish. Today was supposed to be our gaming day in the office, and we kind of screwed it because we're trying to get ahead with content with
Yeah.
all of our clients, and so we stayed really late last night to try and get ahead so we can game a little bit today.
Yeah.
Because I'm leaving for Ireland for 2 weeks tomorrow, and I won't be here. And I was like, the last day I really, buddy, just want to game with everybody. But yeah, work just kept piling
Oh
on, so
no.
we're still not finished, so we're still not ready to game. But I think hopefully in 2 or 3 hours we can hop on and game for a few hours before we go to sleep. But no, I'm not gaming much at all. It kind of sucks.
Yeah.
My my big spiel about all of it is like generally gamers kind of follow this thing where either you get obsessed with gaming in general and
Mm-hmm.
then you turn it into a job, or you can't afford that and you get a job on the side and then gaming just stays your hobby and you do that part time.
Yeah.
But if you're lucky slash unlucky enough to have gaming and content creation around gaming be your job also, I think the hobby kind of turns into like a I don't know how to phrase it properly, but like it becomes like a chore almost.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing that you really love doing on the side becomes this thing that you kind of resent doing in a weird way.
Yeah.
And that's what editing became to me for a small amount of period of time. Um, it was something that I did after school or after work where I got back home and I was like, oh, I can't wait to edit. And
Right.
now it's like, how I make my income. So it's like I have to edit. It's not
Yes.
a choice anymore. And I'm sure with like streamers, it's the same thing where like they fell in love with gaming, but now instead of it like being a relaxing time, it's maybe a stressful time for them. So
Yeah.
the meanings of the hobby kind of changed a little bit. So same for me. I spent too much time working, and now I don't have enough time to game actually.
Yeah.
But funny enough, I'm not burnt out on Tarkov yet. Like I watch so much
Nice.
Tarkov, it's ridiculous because all of my clients are Tarkov based.
Right.
But yeah, I still love playing the game. I just
Nice.
don't have enough time to do so. Yeah.
Now, what's the game that you guys are all playing in the office? Is it Tarkov?
Right now, yeah. Well, we're really excited for the wipe because we usually stop playing like halfway through the wipe, as
Yeah.
most people do. I'm assuming you kind of just get burnt out after
Yeah.
6 months, and we're really excited for the new wipe. That's gonna be great. We're definitely gonna be playing that in the office if we have time.
Yeah.
Because yeah, and then we recently bought Remnant
Oh,
2.
yeah.
So yeah, we played like 2 hours and then work on the way. So today we're gonna hopefully carry on a little bit with that. But yeah,
Nice.
remnants on the plate for today. Yeah.
Okay. So now, what made you start creating YouTube content? Was it just you wanted to throw your highlights up there, or you wanted to jump into editing?
I wanted to be mega famous, Barry.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the top of the food chain. That's what I wanted to be. No, I think it's a bit of both. Like, uh, I was young and naive, and I was like, this is easy. I can
Yeah.
do this. Um, and I did want to be famous. Like as much as I'm making that a joke, I definitely wanted to be like, I really like that idea, like of having a big audience. And my favorite part about the content creation was literally just reading the comments. It still is.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even the content creator, I'm just the editor, but I obsess about the comments and reading comments of like positive feedback
Mm-hmm.
or constructive criticism or anything like that. That's definitely the highlight of my job. And back then too, when I started making YouTube videos, when I was super small, I got like 3 comments or whatever, and that was the best part is
Yeah.
like the feedback that I got from that. And I think that's what kind of spurred me on to like making better and better content and getting better and better at editing is because people have, enjoyed seeing that stuff, and I was getting really nice comments. So
Nice.
um I think that was it. I'm again looking back, it's like it's a bit cringe, and I see a lot of people delete their oldest videos and
Yeah.
stuff or they private them. I've kind of made a point not to do that because I kind of want people to look back and look at my really cringy edits back in the day and see that it's okay to be cringy in the beginning. It's okay to be bad at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's only one way of getting better, and that's like putting in repetitions. So
Yeah.
yeah, in the beginning I started for the fame and just because it felt really great, like seeing nice comments.
Yeah.
And then it kind of became like a artsy thing of
Mm-hmm.
like I really like the art and the craftsmanship behind all of it and the technicalities and so on. Um, that's kind of what it became into, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, I would say that's it.
Yeah, two things on that. So yeah, like when you see the good comments, just like yeah, somebody watched it, somebody liked it. It just yeah, like you said,
Fantastic.
it feels good. And even on the pods when I get
Yeah,
I read all the comments and I reply back just because it's thank you. You're watching this. And then on the other part of it, yeah, keep your original content up there and see how you growed and see how
absolutely.
your content changed. And I had Veritas on a while ago, and he said, when you start out, no, you got nobody watching you, so who cares what it's like,
Exactly.
and you grow from there.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you have to force yourself to just put that stuff out there. There's a lot of I especially working with Pest, absolutely insane man in a very good way.
Yeah,
He's such a hard worker. But one thing that I learned from him is to get like to throw away my um perfectionism. I was a serial perfectionist. Like I wanted everything to be absolutely perfect before I sent him stuff.
yeah,
But he would send me the footage, I would edit it, and then instead of sending it to him on time, I would take 10 extra minutes and tweak a few more things. And I'm like, oh, sorry, it's a bit late. Like I wanted to have this perfect.
yeah,
And then later on, he kind of got back to me and he was like, really appreciate the quality and stuff that we're getting out of these videos, but like it doesn't have to be perfect
yeah.
because uh perfection is like a mirage. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'll never really get there. There will always be something to make better.
Yeah,
And another one of my clients way before Pest also, I don't know where this quote came from, but it keeps getting stuck in my head and I keep preaching it to these two guys behind me.
yeah,
But it's like I read or heard somewhere from a client, uh, art art is never perfected, it's abandoned.
yeah,
So like you have like a project that you're working on, and before it reaches perfection, like you will never get to perfection, and so you'll always just end up abandoning it whenever you're like, okay, it's enough now,
yeah,
like it's good enough, uh it's abandoned, on to the next project.
yeah,
That's in my opinion the best thing to get used to is to know when it's good enough and then to put it out there in the world and then to move on to the next thing, because there's been many times where I'm stuck on a project for weeks
yeah,
and I'm like, it's not good enough, it's not good enough, no, it's not good enough, whereas I could have just sent it out into the world, have that be done, and then move on to the next project and take the lessons that I've learned from that
yeah,
project and applied it to the next one instead of having to constantly mull over it, making sure that it's perfect. And that's one thing that Pestily kind of taught me is like drop the perfectionism thing, get it up to like 85,
yep.
90% done, and then put it out there and move on to the next one. So yeah, that's a very big point that I learned from him,
Yeah.
which was great.
Yeah,
Very
because most
helpful.
most people won't even notice that 5% if you're focused on it, and
Yeah.
it's such a true statement. And another
Yeah.
another person that I if you ever get free time to listen to or listen to his pods or just listen to his content is Rick Rubin. He is the
Mhm.
producer for Kanye, Red Hot Chili Peppers. He was in the original Beastie
Oh well.
Boys. And
Oh
he's
shit.
his just view and his talking about creating and art and everything like that is just, some really
Yeah.
good things he has about, about that subject.
Yeah, I think it's important to to listen to the people that have been in the industry for so long, like the Ruben guy.
Yeah.
I even watch like content now, like not internet content, but like movies or series and stuff. And then I'm sat there with Emily, my girlfriend, and I point out like continuity errors and editing mistakes and stuff,
Yeah.
and she's like, I would have never seen that. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not something I'm like having an eye for at all,
Yeah.
or I'm not even trying to find these things. And I'm not even trying to either, but it's just the way my brain works. Like I'm obviously looking at
Right.
these things because it's my career. But knowing that no one will notice the 10 or 5% that it's missing to perfection,
Yeah.
no one's going to notice. So just get it out there, just get it done, just focus on your reps, just get as much of the content made and out there as
Yeah.
possible. That's the only way forward. And but I definitely understand like the beginner people, myself when I started, like you want to like scrutinize over every single
Mm-hmm.
detail and make sure it's like absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
It never will be,
No, not at
unfortunately.
all.
Yeah.
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 So now you're self-taught with all the, the editing tools. Now, are you an Adobe guy or Vegas?
Adobe,
Yeah.
Adobe, unfortunately. I started with Sony Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't know which version, Sony Vegas 10 or something. I genuinely don't remember, but I have some Sony Vegas tutorials up there on my channel. I don't know if they're still public or not. I got hacked like a few years back, like 4 years back or something. And they deleted a bunch of my
Oh
content, which
no.
kind of sucks. Yeah. But anyway, I started with Sony Vegas and then moved over to Adobe eventually.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the only problem is Adobe is extremely expensive. You pay monthly and
Yes.
you pay quite heavily. And I think Sony is like a once off. I'm not exactly sure, but I think you pay
Yeah.
once off. And the same with DaVinci Resolve.
Mm-hmm.
You also pay once off and then you have it for life, which I really like. Um, but the thing that you can't get around is Adobe's whole suite
Exactly.
that they offer is just it's so extensive and it does when it works it
Yeah.
works really well, and it's nice to have stuff live linked back and forth, and you can hop over to different
Mm-hmm.
programs and they all work really well together. So yeah, Adobe's unfortunately what I'm stuck with. It's like a love-hate relationship with them.
Oh.
But yeah.
Now, do you use the After Effects line as well, and Illustrator? The
Yeah.
full suite is, what you've
Yeah.
learned. Wow.
Yeah, so Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere, After Effects, Media Encoder,
Yeah.
Illustrator. And I started dabbling in XD for web design, but I'm
Yeah.
very bad at that. I kind of gave up on that and I was just like, I'll just get a Squarespace site.
Nice.
I'm not gonna mess around too much with that.
Oh.
Yeah, but everything Adobe.
Yeah. And now, have you started taking advantage of leveraging, like, the cloud for, editing in the cloud versus, taking everything down locally, edit it, push it back up, and
Um, no, I haven't really used the cloud much.
yeah,
The only cloud service we use is Google Drive for footage, but
yeah,
not the native cloud on Adobe. No, we don't really use that too much. Everything is kind of local on our hard drives. I haven't really tried it yet, so maybe it is something that I should look into, but haven't done that yet. No,
yeah.
no, not
Oh,
at all.
very cool. Yeah, I've had some friends in the industry, and what they, they're, bigger companies, bigger corporations like, the CBSs, the ESPNs, and things like that. They're at the point now where basically, all your content's up in like an Amazon AWS or something like that. They have their editors with basically very, low level PCs that they ship
Yep.
out. And then from there, everything is all the power is all done up in the cloud, which is, you can really go
Oh,
edit from
really?
anywhere. Yeah. It's
Oh, and
pretty cool.
do they use different machines that's not locally to render and
Exactly.
stuff?
Yeah.
I'm
Everything.
assuming. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, you take this, like a $200, small form factor PC. That's their editing
Right.
station, and everything is all done. And now you got proxy editing. You can share, and it's the
Yeah.
workflow is pretty cool. But it's
That's nice. I don't know if our infrastructure in South Africa is not the not the greatest. So our internet's pretty horrible.
oh no.
Um yeah, depending on where you are in the country, it's a bit spotty here and there, and then when you're lucky, you can get a good line. But
Yeah.
I'm assuming all of that stuff gets streamed, like the previews and stuff
Yes.
gets
Yeah.
streamed to the PC. So I don't know if that'll work too well here,
Yeah.
but it's worth a try. I should give it a shot
Yeah.
because right now we're buying a NAS soon, so we have
Mm-hmm.
like centralized storage so everyone
Nice.
can tap into with Ethernet or whatever.
Yeah.
But currently we're like running around with hard drives between the PCs and trying to
Yes.
like, oh, give me the footage here so we can keep it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very
Yeah, it's a bit
cool.
of a mission.
And now, when you started putting your content up on YouTube, what was there a
Mhm.
certain video that, exploded for you that like, holy cow, I can't believe it got, 10,000 views or 100,000 views before you
Um,
started working with with the other content creators?
yeah, I think so. I think some of my tutorials did decently. My memory is horrible and I haven't really looked at my own channel in such a long time, but like more of the Call of Duty editing, like little montages and stuff, those tend to do pretty well. And I had a few tutorials blow up here and there. Um, but yeah, not really like just entertaining stuff. It was
Yeah.
always like based on my editing skills
Mm-hmm.
or teaching what knowledge I have about
Right.
editing. It was never, yeah. And so that was kind of a bit of a hint, I guess, for me to be like, okay, this is not my thing. I'm not an entertaining guy. It just is what it is. So I was like, okay, I'll move over to just do the skill
Yeah.
set on its own without, yeah, yeah.
And now, when you're creating YouTube content today, are you aiming for a certain time, like a length of video, or basically you're just aiming for the story that you're trying to tell?
You mean for clients
Yeah, for
or
clients.
I, yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on what brief they hand us.
Yeah.
So, it depends on what stuff, what things they're trying to hit. Like some people are trying to hit those longer form videos. Like SwampFox, one of my clients, he
Yeah.
likes doing a little bit longer format stuff. So then the runtime kind of matters, or other people that like they just want to get information over, so it doesn't really matter how long it is.
Yeah.
In that case, you kind of want to get the video to be as short as possible, so
Mm-hmm.
that you can get the info over without people losing interest and people so attention deficit these
Oh
days,
God.
like with TikTok and all that. So like you want to get the info out as quick as possible. Yeah, there's a big difference. I think the Tarkov audience is a bit more matured, so
Mm-hmm.
like they don't mind watching longer format videos.
Yeah.
But generally, it doesn't really matter. It depends on if you're trying to get like information over quickly, you should focus then on the quickly part of it to get it out there and give the info to the people what they want. Not worry too much about like how nice it looks or anything like
Yeah.
that. And then if you're trying to tell a story, obviously story should take front and center. And then pacing is extremely important, and just make sure that your pacing is on point, and then the length and whatever can come afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not many times where people say I want it to be exactly 15 minutes, or I
Yeah.
want it to be exactly or longer than 30 minutes or whatever. There's not really any stipulations like
Yeah.
that at all. No, it's
Okay.
it's more so like what's the goal of the video, and we
Yeah.
just try and hit that instead of the length. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think YouTube wants to see, they prefer something like past 8 minutes before, I guess, it gets going and whatnot. So, and now once it comes to, short form content, do you find yourself doing a lot of that, vertical content for people, or you're really focused on sort of the regular full length content?
Yeah, so myself, I started just with landscape 16 by 9
Yeah.
regular long form YouTube videos, and then we slowly started seeing people be more interested in short form content, which I can't blame them. That's like my number one recommendation to people.
Yeah.
We had a potential client coming to us and he was like, I've got this much money, I don't know what I need. What
Yeah.
do I need? And I told them, do not post on YouTube. Do not stream. Only spend your money if you only have a set amount of money in a set amount of time.
Yeah.
Only post on TikTok and only post on YouTube Shorts. That's it. Don't do anything else, and have that be your like call to actions for your stream, so
Mm-hmm.
that people come over to your stream. That's all you need to do. Some people that do that really well is like Stankrat and those kind of guys that like I think Indra did that pretty well too
Yeah.
in the Tarkov scene, where getting people's attention on TikTok's really easy compared to compared to YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely an influx in short form content, and we're definitely doing a lot of it. I think we're currently doing 60 TikToks and 60 shorts a month.
Wow.
Or is it? Wait, it's 30 shorts and 30 TikToks a month.
Yeah.
But yeah, slowly but surely that's just coming up and up and up and up. People, I think, see the value in that now.
Yeah.
It was always like TikTok when it started off, it was always a bit of a what's this?
Mm-hmm.
It's not really, something to care about, but it definitely is.
Yeah.
I would say it's your number one place to be posting right now, especially if you want to grow your stream. Definitely
Exactly.
post there for
Yeah,
sure.
you're not gonna get rich off of TikTok. It's really for direction over to where from a streaming standpoint, that's where you're going to get your content. New viewers and whatnot, possibly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just discoverability wise, like on Twitch, there's zero discoverability.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that come to me in the DMs and stuff, and they're like, I've been streaming for 3 more months. I don't know what to do. I always tell them, stop streaming. Don't stream for 2, 3 days a week,
Yeah.
and that's it. And then the rest of your time, you should be editing content. You should be an editor foremost. You should
Mm-hmm.
be an editor and then a streamer.
Yeah.
Like you should be editing 24/7, and then when you can, you should be streaming,
Mm-hmm.
is my opinion. Because the only way to get your stream out there is via short form content, YouTube content. That's the only way. That's the only search engine that'll really push your stuff out. Twitch
Yeah.
isn't a search engine, or at least I don't think anybody uses that as one.
No.
I've never gone onto Twitch and typed into the thing, the Tarkov content, and
Right.
then gone through you just watch the people you watch, and if you don't watch them, you don't watch them.
Yeah.
That's it. So yeah, finding new people is definitely the easiest in short form for sure.
Absolutely. And now, before you started out editing, who did you like, or did you have other people that inspired you? What other creators did you sort of like? Oh, wow, I like that. That's, some content creators that just you gravitated towards.
I would say when I first started, so this was like the Call of Duty days for
Yeah.
me. I was big into like montages and editing to a song. So like pick a song that I
Yeah.
enjoyed and edited towards that. Um, and it would be highly focused just on the clips and on whatever editing effects and the feeling that I'm trying to convey.
Yeah.
So naturally, the people that I watched and that I enjoyed was like FaZe Clan, which I think took a big nosedive.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the day, like way, way, way back, Pomage, FaZe Pomage. I don't know if anybody recognized that name. I watched him a lot. FaZe Jev, which is still doing fantastic, by the way. He's doing really, really well. All of those like old school guys, I really, really enjoyed watching them. All of them kind of just played Call of Duty, and they were just kind of grinding to get good clips,
Mm-hmm.
and then have those clips shipped to an editor, and the editor would like put that into a montage for them, and then those videos are the ones that I would consume. Yeah, I think
Okay.
that was like the majority of it, and that's kind of what I try to emulate.
Yeah.
You always like see something that you like, and then you try to emulate that thing. And I've always found that that's the best way to like learn and to grow, is to like have something to aim towards. It's always hard to like find your rhythm and your own flair. You kind of have to emulate other people and see
Yeah.
what works and what doesn't work. Yeah.
Okay. And now, when did you start down the path of being an editor for other creators? Was there certain moments like, I like editing so much, I want to try to help other people, and then you went down the path of as a freelancer? Or?
Yeah. So like I said, I kind of just I was doing decently with the content creation stuff, and in South Africa there just weren't many content creators back then.
Yeah.
This was like right after high school for me. My dad really badly wanted me to be an engineer, and so I tried really hard. I did like summer school in maths and
Yeah.
science, and try to get my points up there, my marks up there, to get into university for mechanical engineering. I did enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think I enjoyed it as much as my dad wanted me to enjoy
Yeah.
it. So, and I definitely wasn't. I wasn't smart enough for it at all. But I
Yeah.
tried my best, and then I didn't get in, and I was like, shit, okay, I didn't get in here. What am I gonna do with my life? Like, I'm a gamer at heart, and I
Right.
love editing, and I love the Adobe suite, and I love, that creativeness.
Yeah.
I also had what was it called? It was called like architectural design
Mm-hmm.
as a subject in school, in high school, and I loved that. That was like drawing like house plans
Yeah.
and mechanical parts and stuff on paper, and then designing it and so on. So I enjoyed that as well. And so I was like, okay, screw it. I think the only thing that I can really do here for university was graphic design. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is something I kind of know what's going on, and it's pretty easy to get into. So I was like, okay, screw it, I'm gonna do that. And then I did that, and they kind of just taught me everything that I already knew, that I already taught
Yeah.
myself. So it was a bit disappointing. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get like better at what
Right.
I already
Yeah.
know. But no, I was like up here and they were like trying to teach me this thing, and I
Yeah.
was like, this is way too easy. And so um, that gave me an extra like 2 to 3 years where I was like, okay, I can focus on self-study more
Yeah.
because like I know everything these people are trying to teach me. Lucky enough. And so I was like, okay, I've got 2 extra years where my parents think I'm studying, that I can like just self-study the stuff that I want to know, which
Yeah.
is like After Effects and like going really deep into special effects and stuff. And so it's like, okay, cool, I can do that. Then after I did that, I moved to my mom's place in Jeffreys Bay, a small town in South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, cool. I'm getting pretty good at content creation and stuff. And then MSI, a company, spotted me.
Yeah.
Microstar International, they do like computer parts and stuff. I'm sure everybody
Mm-hmm.
knows. Um, and then they sent me to Taipei to Computex. They sent me there to do some to shoot some video for them
Oh
and
wow.
to help them create some content there. So that was fantastic. It was like my first like sponsorship deal thing. So that went really well. Really enjoyed that trip. And then after that, I was like, then my like growth started
Oh
tapering
no.
down and down and down, and I was like, oh no, it's the end. So that's when I realized I think a lot of people a lot of like content creators get to this point where like they don't see growth anymore and they feel like a failure because I definitely did.
Yeah.
Um, that's when I started a sidestep. I was like, okay, let's pivot. Let's use what I've learned, and there must be a way to make a living with the stuff that I've learned. So
Right.
that's when I started going to people and saying, "Hey, I think your content can be better. Can I help you?" Or people with already like a following.
Yeah.
Hey, I think I can help you with this or this or this. And then I started editing with people, but I did all that stuff for free. I didn't
Yes.
charge anything. So for about 6 months or so, I just edited for as many people as I can
Yeah.
for completely free. And I built up a portfolio, and I had examples of my work that I could then show
Yeah.
potential new clients and say, "Hey, I'll do this for $5 or whatever."
Right.
And then, oh, that's affordable because blah 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 blah. And then they start hiring me, and then it just, snowballs, and you up your price, and
Yeah.
your portfolio grows, and your skill set grows, and that kind of just happened.
Okay.
But I still wasn't self-sustainable,
Yeah.
so I moved to Cape Town for a editing job for advertisers.
Yeah.
So I did advertising for companies like Axe and Toyota
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, and it was all under a company that just specializes in like TV commercials.
Yeah.
And so I was just doing boring editing
Yeah.
for boring companies, but all that to get by. And then eventually my hobby overtook my income on those corporate stuff,
Yeah.
and then I left my job.
Nice.
I actually got fired, but let's not talk about
Yeah.
that. And then I got retrenched. The company went down, but I like saying I got fired.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then I did the content creation stuff full time.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, slowly but surely.
Yeah, because it's not a easy thing to crack into, because you go on Twitter and everybody's advertising their services and whatnot, and like you taking your path you did, offer it up for free till you got street cred, you had a portfolio
That's
and go down
key.
that path.
That's
Yeah,
key.
yeah,
Yeah, super
absolutely.
important. I started doing on the side. I started doing weddings as well because I really enjoyed photography and
Mm-hmm.
and videography on top of that. So I was like, hey, some people that really need videos done is weddings. Apparently that's great. So I was like, cool, I'll do this. Like they seem like they pay a lot of money for
Yeah,
like wedding videos. So I was like, this is exactly what I need to go into. The cash is there. It's one day of shoot, like maybe 2 days of editing, and then
yeah.
I got this lump sum of money. So I was like, cool, this is perfect. But I had nowhere to start.
Oh
And so I
no.
did the exact same thing that I did with video editing, where I was like, I'll do it for free.
Oh
The people
wow.
who can't afford video editing
Yeah,
or a wedding video,
yeah.
like I think the hierarchy of like how you would do your wedding is like you'd get a photographer
Uh-huh.
first just to do the photos,
Yep.
and if you can afford it, you'll get a video. I
Yep.
think it should be flipped in my opinion, but whatever.
Yep.
um so yeah, people would get a photographer, but they couldn't afford a videographer, and then that's where I stepped in. I'm like, I'll do it for free. Just give me a plate of food,
Yeah.
and I'll do everything.
Yeah.
And so I did that. I did like 4 weddings completely for free.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't charge them a thing. I think I charged them for like fuel to just get to the venue.
Yeah.
Um, and and then I slowly built a portfolio, and I had examples to show people, because I think that's the key problem that people have, is like they can't get into the industry because they don't have any examples of work to show people.
Right.
They don't
Yeah.
have any experience. They don't, and so offering your services up for free is a really easy way to build your portfolio, build your knowledge, and have something to show people like, hey, this is what I've done.
Yeah.
I'm not a nobody. And you don't have to tell people that you did it for free. You
Right.
can tell them that you charged. It's fine.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into that. And then yeah, did that for a little bit
Nice.
too. So yeah, I would highly recommend that route. Just do stuff for free until you're good enough to where you
Yeah.
can start charging.
Now, do you miss doing sort of, shooting real content versus gaming content and editing that?
Um, no, Barry, I'm a nerd, like the most of us. I like staying inside.
Yeah.
Especially with weddings, like you have to dress up, you have
Yeah.
to be in uncomfortable shoes. I only figured out later on that you can just wear like sneakers. You don't
Yeah.
have to wear nice shoes. So I was wearing like leather shoes at
Oh
like
God.
weddings, being on my feet from like 6 a.m. to catch the sunrise,
Oh
like time
yes.
lapsing the sunrise to make it look nice.
Yeah.
Um, filming people getting their hair and makeup
Uh-huh.
done, and then staying all day during the formalities, and staying after hours to watch
Yeah.
them dance, and film the dancing section and all of that stuff, and the reception and so on, and then going home at like 2 a.m. So you're like there from 6 till
Oh
2.
God. Yeah.
I don't know, what's that, 20 something hours.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. And then you go home, and then you've got like 200 gigs worth of wedding footage to
Yeah.
sift through.
Oh
So no, that wasn't fun.
no.
But it paid really well, which was great. But
Nice.
no, I prefer doing gaming,
Yeah.
definitely, and that's where my passion is, for sure.
And now, as a videographer, from a drone standpoint, have you played around with any drone footage and things like that? Because that's got to open up the landscape from a creativity standpoint. Shots you never could do before.
Yeah, apropos, I learned that word recently. Apropos our recent discussion about the whole like PUBG thing, where like you got a tool to
Right.
do like fly around cameras and stuff in game. Drone is kind of the same thing for that in real life, where
Yeah.
like you can get different angles and stuff that wouldn't really necessarily have. But no, I could never afford one.
Yeah.
I really wanted to get into FPV droning. I
Yeah.
was like pretty big on that. I'm like a serial researcher, so like whenever I get into stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna research the absolute shit out of this until I fully understand everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time I fully understand everything, I don't want to do it anymore. Then my ADHD took over, and I'm like, there's something better to do over here.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, I've always wanted to do droning and stuff. I've always found that really interesting, but no, they're too expensive, and I feel
Yep.
like I'm just gonna crash and lose it. Yeah.
All right. So back to Tarkov. How did you end up getting hooked up with Pest? Was Pest your first sort of big creator that you connected with?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, he's definitely, when he contacted me, I was pretty shook. Because I think he tweeted out like a form, like a Google Sheet form or whatever. He
Yeah.
was hiring editors, and I think that's the best way of doing it, is like having a sheet with a bunch of fields you need to fill in. And I was like, screw it. I was on Twitter, so I saw it, and one of my old viewers that used to watch me when I made Call of Duty content, they tagged me in the tweet.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, whatever, I'll fill it out. And I didn't really think much of it, but I filled it out, and I did a good job with filling it out. Like I really took my time and like wrote everything out nicely. And I tried to link. I didn't have a portfolio, and I didn't have a show reel at all. So I just linked like random videos that I could find on the internet, a lot of my own stuff, and then I
Mm-hmm.
linked like weddings in there. Like I went fucking crazy. I know that this was like a game, a video gamer, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I threw in like weddings, I threw in like travel videos, I threw in absolutely everything that I could to like stack it as much as I
Mm-hmm.
could, and I sent it off. And then apparently I made the shortlist, and so they're like, cool, we want to just have a chat to you.
Yeah.
And um, so Pestily and his wonderful wife Christine hopped on a call with me, and we had a chat. and they seemed to like me. And so, yeah, I got hired later on. It
Excellent.
was fantastic. Really, really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, when he was on the pod, he talked about one of his biggest regrets was not hiring an editor or an editor sooner when he started down this path. It just it allowed him to freed up so much more time.
Yeah. I think that's true. I think a lot of people underestimate how much time it takes to create the content.
Yeah.
And if you're good at like, there's always like this idea of like you can either do all the plumbing in your house on your own, and do the electric works, and you can clean yourself, and you can do all these things. This is a very horrible example, but and then maybe, you know, the pipes will start leaking every now and then, and you'll get a little electric shock when you touch the door handle and stuff. It's a little bit sus. Or you can if you have the money, you can hire specialists to do those things specifically. So I think editing too, and then he has more time to dial down the job that he needs to do,
right,
which is recording and actually creating the content, and curating what he's going to do when he's going to do it, and taking the time to record and all of those things takes a lot of time and energy too. And then he can just send it to us, and we can make the content he wants to make.
Yeah.
And he has a really keen eye. At least when I worked with him, he had a really, really keen eye for what he wanted and how he wanted it done. So it was really easy working with him because he gave us really good feedback, and we could do exactly what he wanted with us without him having to like research how does After Effects work. Like, we already knew all those things, so we can implement it immediately without any delay. And I think that really took his content to the next level and helped him grow quicker. So yeah, I think that's the best thing that they could do, content creators in general, is just getting an editor that's proficient. Either that, or if you don't have the money, to teach yourself to do that on your own. And yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so many creators have come through on the pod. You know, that's a big thing for them, is getting that editor. And the other thing I hear for people who have, you know, got an editor, the biggest thing was finding one that matches their style was very difficult for them too. You know, because not every editor matches every content creator.
Yeah, I mean, we all enjoy specific things that we enjoy, and I think content's like very subjective. It's not an objective thing. Like, it's not like being a mechanic or a doctor or something where
it's black and white.
One right answer. Yeah. Like, anything can be right. Like, content is super, super subjective, and so editors have their own way of doing things, and whatever client that you're working with, you have to listen to them and pay attention to what they enjoy and the way that they do stuff, and you got to research their old content, and you got to make sure that you're tailoring the stuff to them and their audience, because their audience is used to a specific thing, and you got to try and match that, or obviously try and improve on that, but match the feel and the vibe. And so, yeah, that was definitely something that I had to get used to for Tarkov. I had no idea what Tarkov was, by the way, when I started with Pestily. Yeah, I think when he hired me, he was like, "Do you know anything about Tarkov?" I was like, "Nope, I don't know anything." And Tarkov is not an easy game to get into, so I was struggling in the beginning.
Yeah.
The first video I did with him was like a Intel guide on reserve of where the Intel spawns. I remember that very vividly. And the first month of working with Pestily, he paid me for the first month working with him, and he told me the whole first month, I just need to play Tarkov. Don't talk to me, just play Tarkov, and write down any like concerns that you have about the game, or like any questions or anything. Because I think he did that pretty well. Like, it was a negative hiring an editor that doesn't play the game that he's supposed to be editing.
Right.
That's a negative, but I think he turned it into a positive by asking me to write down the questions that I might have. And then what we did is we took those questions and turned them into tutorials. So he then made tutorials on the questions that I had coming into the game fresh. And so thousands of other people who came into Tarkov fresh had the same questions I did, and we already wrote those down and started making tutorials on those questions. So he was very, very smart with like turning this negative into a positive, and I think he managed that really well. And it was sick getting paid just to play Tarkov all day. But yeah, crazy game, really hard to get into. I had a really rough time.
Pest is definitely a big brain guy. You know, I had Michael on, who is his neighbor, and now and
I love that guy. I met him for the first time a few months ago.
Oh, he's crazy. But he has an amazing story. But again, just going to Pestily, seeing, big, great ways of just growing his content and getting people, working well with people.
Yeah, he's super, super, super good with that. He's got a very, very business mind, and
Yeah.
he never switches off.
No.
It's scary, actually. I don't know how he sleeps at night, but he does not switch off. He's constantly on. He's constantly working. Yeah, the man is a machine. Definitely one of the hardest working people I've ever had the privilege of working with.
Yeah.
And he taught me a lot and definitely helped me get to where I was. So if you're watching this, Pest, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So
Yeah,
now,
great guy.
when you moved off of, or when you started working with other clients, it's got to be tough because many aren't like Pest, who knows exactly what they want. They may be the first time working with an editor, and there's just, hey, here's my content, make me a video.
Yeah, we've had a recent client that came on board with us with Ghost Pixel called Ash. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I love Ash, but it's AshIV. It's Ash
AshIV,
underscore
yes,
IV.
yeah, he's been
Yeah,
on the pod
fantastic
too.
guy.
Oh, amazing guy,
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
yes,
Really, really enjoyed that guy. He is probably the guy that causes the most amount of laughs in the office here. Like Kyle edits his content, and Kyle's constantly just laughing in the corner. But yeah, he's one of those guys that have never worked with an editor before, and before he hired us. And yeah, same question. Like he doesn't even know what he wants yet, or he doesn't know what to expect working with an editor,
mm-hmm.
and it's always humbling having people trust you with their baby.
Yeah,
Like they're literally trusting you with everything that they've built over years,
yeah,
and trusting you don't screw it up in one video. So obviously there's like a QA process, and making sure that we don't screw it up. So he watches it afterwards, I watch it after Kyle's done with it,
right,
and we make sure that it's up to scratch. But still, even just like paying money for someone to take over a job that you've been doing for so long must be terrifying. And I
yeah,
super humbled that they're okay with doing that. But I think it's just communication. You just
yeah,
got to make super, super sure that you're communicating everything properly. You're talking to the content
mm-hmm.
creators as much as you can, touching base constantly,
Yeah,
making sure that they're happy. Yeah, communication is everything in all facets of life, but
mm-hmm.
specifically with working with content creators, because it feels like you're taking over their channel, which you're not doing, but it
Yeah.
feels like it. So
Yeah,
it's
it's your
terrifying. Yeah.
edits that are representing their brand and everything like that. So it needs to be up to that, a level that they're used to at least.
Yeah, yeah, and if you try and implement new things, and if you're like, obviously, as an editor, you don't want to just only do what you've been told. You want to
Right.
go the extra mile, and you want to try and improve their content. You don't want
Exactly.
to
Yep.
just keep it the same. What's the point of that? Like they're hiring you to keep stuff the same.
Yeah.
So you want to improve, but you want to touch base constantly. You want to make sure, um, listen, I added this. Do you think this is okay?
Right.
And yeah, just keep
Yeah.
communicating.
Yeah. His main thing was Tarkov, and then he transitioned over into like, other
Yeah,
games, and his
yeah,
DayZ content is just fantastic. And
it's
like you're
phenomenal.
saying, so funny. He's just got a great mind for, from the creative aspect of this.
I think he's doing this the right way. A lot of streamers, exactly touching base on what we spoke earlier. Like a lot of streamers have streaming be like their main thing.
Yeah.
They only focus on streaming, and then YouTube content and TikTok and whatnot, the offline stuff that comes second.
Yeah.
I think Ash is one of the few creators where I think he's got it down perfectly, where he sees his streams as a recording session
Mm-hmm.
for the offline content. So like the streams are literally just recording sessions. So he's got like stuff planned that he wants to do on
Yeah.
stream. He's got notes next to him. He wants to do this and this and this and this. I'm assuming that's what he's doing, but it looks like it.
Yeah.
And then he streams for like 3 days a week or 4 days a week, for a few hours, like 4 or 5 hours, and then all of that is just material to fuel the offline content.
Yeah.
And then the offline content reaches way better than Twitch will ever
Oh,
reach,
absolutely.
because SEO is up there, and TikTok's discoverability is super, super high. So then it blows up on TikTok. The links in his bio, people enjoy his stuff. They get served the same stuff over
Mm-hmm.
and over. If you enjoy his stuff, obviously that's how the algorithm works. And then it kind of funnels back to his Twitch.
Yep.
And then more and more people watch his recording sessions, and then because they've been a part of the recording sessions, they want to know what the offline content coming from that
Right.
looks like, so they go watch the offline content, and they just bounce it back and forth, back and forth. He's got that down to a T. So
Absolutely.
uh very, very cool. I think that's how everybody should be doing
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
And anybody who's streaming live, they've got to go with and put something up there on YouTube, because YouTube works when you're not
Have
streaming,
to.
when you're sleeping, and it's always there.
Exactly. It's like working a 9 to 5 to like owning a business where you're making money while not working. It's kind of
Right.
that same thing where like YouTube, all of your old videos are accumulating views over time, and all of that is funneling people to your Twitch.
Exactly.
I know Twitch is a big, big, big money maker for content creators, and more so than YouTube generally,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the size, obviously.
Yeah.
Excuse me for that. But the key is to have that offline content there for people, so that when you're not online, you're still being watched,
Yeah.
and you're
Absolutely.
still reaching people.
Yeah. And now you touched a little bit on, when Ash was taking notes, or his workflow. So what is your sort of workflow from like concept to finally, like and subscribe? Do the creators come with you and saying, here's my story I want to do, and sort of create it? Or do you sort of work with them to create help them create the story and the vision?
Yeah, I've got a different way of doing things. I've got private clients
Yep.
that only me, Frank, works with. So I only have two currently. It's Jessie and SwampFox.
Yep.
And those two I work with privately.
Yep.
My company doesn't touch them at all. It's just me. And they have my full undivided attention, mostly between them two, obviously. And then I've got clients that my company works with.
Mm-hmm.
And I obviously put my nose in there thoroughly too and make sure everything is up to standard.
Yep.
But with SwampFox and Jessie, they want their content to be a very, very particular, specific way, and so I try to get it to that standard. So they're really, really good at like giving me briefs. So they would like type out an essay for me and
Yep.
make sure that they give me every single little bit of detail of how they want things to show. I obviously put my own riff on that,
Yep.
and I try to add things that I think is necessary to add, or I think we can do things a bit differently. Then I would open up a discussion with them, and have a chat, have a meeting with them, and say, okay, I see what you put down here, but I think we should do things this way or that way, or we can add things or take some stuff away, and we have a proper discussion.
Yep.
I have like a weekly talk with Jessie where we literally just sit down and brainstorm for like an
Nice.
hour or 2 hours a day. It's fantastic. And the same with SwampFox. Like we call each other often. We discuss the topics and we discuss the videos and make sure that it's exactly what he wants.
Yep.
And then again, there'll be a lot of back and forth. Like I'll send the videos to them and they'll say, this doesn't look right, change this, add this, take that away. They'll send it back to me and I'll make those changes and send it
Yep.
back. And then there's other clients, like I said, that my company deals with,
Mm-hmm.
where um they don't really care. They just want content to go up, and they don't really want to be a part of the creativity of it. They
Yep.
trust us to do that part.
Nice.
They're like, I'm gonna do my thing, which is streaming, and you
Yep.
guys do your thing, which is the offline content, and they trust us.
Nice.
Super humble that they do trust us, and they're just like, whatever you guys think is best, you guys do that. And they'll check in every week or two and make sure everything is going well. But usually they just send us a VOD. We do
Yeah.
what we do, and we manage their whole YouTube channel for them.
Oh,
We
nice.
do the thumbnails, the titles, we schedule everything,
Yep.
and it just happens. They don't have to think about it. They just
Nice.
stream, and we go pull the VOD, and we
Yeah.
handle everything else, and manage their TikToks and all of those things, and it just happens,
Yeah.
right? So
Nice.
there's like two brackets where people really care and they're very particular and
Mm-hmm.
specific about things, and then there's other people who trust us to do everything completely, and they'll, from a distance, they'll kind of
Yeah.
add a few things or take a few things away. Yeah,
Oh, so you do the full soup to nuts, basically. Here's my VOD, and now you, like you
absolutely.
just said, the thumbnails, the titles, tagging. You're managing their channels for them.
Everything,
Nice.
everything. Yeah. We even reply to comments sometimes
Yeah.
if we think there's some info that the creators won't have. We'll reply to
Yeah.
that and make sure that it's handled. Yeah, it's like a full thing.
It's a
They
managed
literally don't
service.
touch their
Yeah.
YouTube. Yeah, yeah. They'll
Nice.
just go through the comments and see what people think, and they'll reply and say thank you for watching and
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm sure they keep up with their own content too because they're the one that recorded it, so they know
Yeah.
what's happening. But yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Excellent.
that's
Now,
it.
what any secrets you want to share with thumbnails? Because that's always the
Oh
thumbnails are
yeah.
important.
thumbnails are important. I actually have been putting together a I'm trying to find the file here for you. I've been putting together a thumbnail. I don't know what to call it. Like a thumbnail um not a master class,
Yeah.
but like everything that I've learned from
Oh,
thumbnail
nice.
designing over the years. I've started putting into like a 5-page document with like exactly everything that I think that you need to know and why those things are the way that they are. Oh yeah, I've got it here. It's not done though. I'll definitely send it to you when it's done. But I plan on just giving that out to the community for free. So I'll,
Nice.
I'll put that up on my website
Yeah.
eventually when it's done under the free section, and they can just download that and use it. But there's a bunch of things that people need to take into consideration. I think the first thing that people kind of underestimate is thumbnails are tiny.
Yes.
Everybody thinks that they add so much detail to thumbnails, and they're like, oh, I'll put a paragraph of text here, and
Right.
like no one's gonna read that. That
Yeah.
you can't see anything. So I think that's the number one tip that I can give people is to not over detail thumbnails.
Yeah.
Thumbnails are super, super small, and if it doesn't, like, you kind of have to like think of yourself as someone who's going through your sub box or your homepage on YouTube. How many seconds do you look at a thumbnail?
Right.
Like 1 second, maybe. So you kind of have to be able to tell exactly what's going on in the video with the thumbnail within like a second. And
Yeah.
if you don't, then it's a failure of a thumbnail in my opinion.
It's
Or
an
at least
art.
drive people to read the title. Yeah, it's an art, and I still don't know what I'm doing. I've been in the industry full time for like 8 years now, and I still don't know what the hell's going on. So we're
Oh.
all learning daily, and stuff changes. Like stuff changes really, really quickly.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, you got to keep on top of it, and you got to keep learning and keep being curious.
Yeah. And now you
There's a new thing I want to
oh,
say. Sorry to cut you off, Barry. Um, YouTube is rolling out, all creators listening now, YouTube is rolling out a beta where you can upload, it's like A/B testing for thumbnails. So like
oh
you can
wow.
upload 3 thumbnails to your channel, to a video, and then YouTube will serve those 3 separate thumbnails to um, people separately. And then let's say your CTR for one thumbnail is higher than the other one, your click-through rate's higher for one thumbnail than the other one. It'll slowly but surely serve that
Oh
thumbnail
wow.
more so than the other ones.
That's
Yeah,
great.
and then on the back end, you can see what the click-through rate is for all three, and you can see, oh, this one worked better or that one worked better, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a pretty cool thing. It's not out yet. I think it's coming out in the next month or two, but that's a really, really cool thing to look out for. I'm really excited for
That's
that. It's
pretty
going to change
cool.
the game for
And
sure.
also for
Yeah.
those thumbnail artists, that means they're making more thumbnails, which is good for them.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And also it'll like you don't have to use it, I'm sure, on every single video, but it
Right.
just gives you a direction, like oh, this works. Whereas
Nice.
now either your video does well or doesn't do well, you kind of don't know where to go from there.
Yep.
But with this, you have a direction. It's like, oh, okay, my audience likes purple, for example. Let's
Right.
do more purple thumbnails. Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's great.
All right. So another thing that you're involved with is Ghost Pixel, which I think that's
Yeah.
the company you've been talking about. And what made you start Ghost Pixel?
Oh, so I I have been working really, really long hours. Like with Pestily, we were doing so much work. It was crazy. Like I said, Pestily is such a hard worker. It's just go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And I couldn't keep up with him. The man was the man was unstoppable. And his hunger for content is insane. And that was very obvious to me, and that was super, super inspiring. And we were 2 editors in the beginning. It was just Will and I.
Yeah.
And then Will left to go work for another content creator, and so I was alone for like a month or two, which was
Oh my
horrifying.
God.
Yeah, and then he hired 2 other amazing editors, Narfa and Boomer, both of which are top tier editors,
hmm
absolutely amazing, and that was so much fun to work with. But even the three of us were like struggling to get through the workload that Pestily was throwing at us. It was crazy. So um, I definitely knew that I didn't want to work that hard for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like I was doing between like 12 and 16-hour days
Oh wow.
just editing all day long. Um, that was insane, and I just couldn't keep up anymore. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, the only way that I can really do this better is by having someone help me with stuff. So after that, I started doing like a lot of VOD cuts. So like I would have a whole VOD that I need to cut down
Mm-hmm.
into the good moments, and then after I do that first rough cut of the VOD, I have
Yeah.
to go in and like actually make it entertaining and do the edits, the proper edits. So I was like, if I can hire someone to do this for me, to like do the rough cut
Yeah.
first, to go through the 8 hours, 8 hour VOD and cut it down for me like in a neat little pack of like a highlight clip,
Yeah.
and then I can come in afterwards and do the more detailed
Right.
edits on top of that, and add the music and add the crops and stuff and
Yeah.
whatever I want to do with the video at the end. That'll save me a lot of time. And then I don't have to work as much. So I was
Right.
like, this is perfect. I can do that. And so a friend of mine, Kyle, he kind of had the similar thing that I did where like I was creating content and it was starting to take a nosedive and I just wasn't feeding it anymore. He had the same thing going with him where he was doing Twitch streams, and he was doing pretty well. Like he was self-sufficient
Mm-hmm.
with Twitch, but he also just didn't feel like it was going anywhere. And I was like, hey, in your off times, can I teach you editing? And then you can help me with editing and I can pay you, and you can make a little bit of extra money and
Yeah.
also learn how to edit. And with that skill of editing, you can edit your own content too. And like we said earlier, it's so important to have offline content so that that'll help your stream out and you can help me out and we
Yeah.
both get paid and so on and so on. So I was like, that's cool. Let's do that. And so he helped me for a really long time. And that just grew and grew and grew and grew until he was like, screw it, he's gonna stop streaming and just do editing with
Oh
me full
wow.
time. Yeah, and I could afford it, and clients were still coming in to me. And it was a lot of stress
Mm-hmm.
because they're expecting my level of quality and it's my friend doing quite a bit of the work,
Yeah.
and then I'm coming in afterwards with the scalpel and I'm
Exactly. Yeah.
detailing and making it perfect. So it was kind of stressful because like it's my name that's on the line, but it's
Yeah.
someone else that's helping me with the work. So it's like, don't fuck up, Kyle, please.
Yeah.
This is super important. Um, and that was great. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed teaching and
Mm-hmm.
like it's always fun like sharing your passion with someone else and
Absolutely.
having them understand stuff. And they're like, oh, you do it like this. That's interesting. Da 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 da. So stuff like that has been great. And then hired him full time. And we've been going at it for I think a year and a half now. And then after that, we just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I think 2 months ago or so, we signed. Oh, it's been 2 weeks. It feels like 2 months. We signed Landmark, and Landmark's on board now full time too.
Oh, excellent.
So
Congratulations.
then, yeah, thank you so much. And then I hired my other best friend, Guy.
Oh,
So then
nice.
he nervously left his full-time
Oh,
back-end developer
wow.
job, yeah, to come sit in a tiny little closet of an office with me and Kyle. So we're literally three best friends all working together now full time,
Excellent.
just doing editing. And the same thing. So now Kyle's teaching Guy a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to manage it a little bit, and then still growing. And then
Mm-hmm.
I hired an Australian guy who's helping us temporarily.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, we're just growing and growing, growing. Actually, looking for another editor. So if anyone needs work, please hit me up. But yeah, no, it's been fantastic. That's the reason that I started it, and it's been really great to like give a cool opportunity to them,
Mm-hmm.
but also expand and be able to help more and more creators
Yeah.
with their content, and hopefully just giving value to people, which is ultimately the goal.
Nice.
So yeah, yeah,
Excellent. And now,
it's been
5 years ago, you go from there to what you are now. What do the parents think? Are they like, "Oh my God, this is what you do for a living"?
great. Yeah, my dad hated me gaming in
Yeah.
high school. He was like, "There's no future in this. This is not like." He kept on telling me like I lived in a dreamland. Like
Yeah.
this is never gonna really do anything. Like I'm spending an absurd amount of time gaming and making content. And I don't know. I had some faith in myself, and
Yeah.
I saw other people on YouTube doing the content creation thing. So I was like, there must be something about this that's gonna work.
Yeah.
Um, but it ultimately wasn't my goal to do this full time. It kind of just snowballed and happened, and luckily I with people like Pestily in the
Mm-hmm.
early days, like gave me a shot, and I just showed up to it, and I took as many opportunities as I possibly can,
Yeah.
and made a thing out of it. Yeah, my parents are still shook. They don't know what to think. They still don't understand really, the whole online thing.
Right.
I think very few parents know what the hell's going on.
Very
Like,
true.
how are your clients making money playing video games? And I'm
Exactly. Yeah.
like, it's very obvious how it's working, like AdSense and stuff. Like, to
Exactly.
me,
Yeah.
it's such an obvious thing, but I don't think they recognize or realize how big YouTube is and how big the internet is. They
Right.
still don't get it, and it's kind of funny that they don't get it because it's so apparent to us. But
Exactly. Because you go
yeah,
to
there's a lot of
YouTube
people that don't get it.
and you just see the amount of people watching it, and you can relate. You know, they can relate to it. They're used to just TV, watching TV with
Yeah,
commercials, and the commercials pay for
yeah.
the TV, and that's
Exactly.
yeah,
Same thing.
exactly.
Exactly the same thing. Yeah, but they genuinely just don't get it. No matter how much I've tried to explain
Yeah.
it, they're just like,
Oh.
okay, whatever, Frank, if you say so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And now I saw that you made it over to TwitchCon in San Diego. How was
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
experience?
Oh, that was insane. I had absolutely the best time ever. We went with Pestily,
Mm-hmm.
and Boomer and Narfa, the two other editors. We all went together. It was like a big happy family. Oh, and Pestily's sister came with as
Oh,
well.
nice.
Jen, she's absolutely amazing. And we went and had a really good time. It was my first time at a TwitchCon. It was my first time in San Diego too,
Mm-hmm.
so it was really great just seeing the city
Yeah.
and being around there, and being around like-minded people, which is something you don't really get to experience as often as I would like, as like a gamer slash content
Right.
creator editor kind of person. There's not many people in society, like, you don't walk into a coffee shop
No.
and it's like, hey, full-time streamer there, full-time streamer there, people that really understand um the space as
Mm-hmm.
well as you do, and
Well,
there's
even
nothing really to.
even just a couple of years ago, like, people with, the normal jobs, the corporate jobs, you find somebody who's a
Yeah.
gamer. It's like, oh, you game? Yeah, I do. Like, it's always been sort of like,
It's
frowned
like an
upon.
it's like an inner circle, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing I can relate it to is like motorcycling, and you're on the highway and you see another motorcyclist and you wave to them.
Yeah,
They always wave back. Like okay, most of the time, at
yeah.
least like 80% of people wave back, and it's always like this inner biker circle. You're like,
Uh-huh.
cool, we're bikers. And the same thing with gamers. It's like, oh my god, there's someone like me. Like, here he is. Like, I
Yeah,
can talk to him about like things that I'm so passionate about.
yeah.
And you really don't experience that in everyday life. And so at TwitchCon, it was like this hyper focused group of people at an event that all share the same passion and the same interests, um, and it was so refreshing, and it was
Nice.
such an eye-opening thing to like know. Yeah, I'm sitting at my PC for ungodly amount of hours every day, and I see the people on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
like numbers and names, but seeing them in real life and being like, oh, this is real, I'm not crazy.
Right.
I know that sounds pretty insane, but just knowing that these people actually exist and like you're not
Yeah.
alone, and stuff like that was really good.
And now,
Really enjoyed it.
on that trip over, what was the highlight of, the American trip?
um oh, so TwitchCon was fantastic, and
Yeah.
and meeting everybody that I've spent so much time with online was great. Like,
Yeah.
personally, I think I worked with him for like 3 years and we never met,
Oh,
and then
wow.
we met at TwitchCon. So that was great. Just giving him a hug and saying hello to him and to Jin and to the two other editors.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a really cool bonding experience because like you talk to those people every single day,
Right.
like full on colleagues, and you just never meet them. So
Yeah.
that was great. I think that was definitely the highlight. But then after that, Pestily and I got invited to. Pestily did. He dragged me with, luckily, thank God, to go shoot some guns with
Yes.
Donut Operator, and I think Matt Best was there, and the AK guy,
Yeah.
and yeah, I can't even name all of them. There was so many cool people there, and we were at their gun range, and we were just shooting an absolute insane amount of guns. So that Clean was there too. Clean's
Yeah.
such a cool guy.
Well, I heard you
He
touch
he
Clean's
let me shoot some
pee-pee,
of the
so
guns.
I saw the tweet.
I did, I did. He let me shoot his PP-19. Yeah, no, that was definitely, I think, the highlight in terms of like cool shit that I got to do.
Yeah.
Was so cool. Pest and I did a video where we shot every single gun in Tarkov in real life. So
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of the concept. and they were kind enough to let us shoot a silly amount of guns and ammo. I don't even want to think how much that ammo cost, but we shot so many rounds. It was sick.
Now,
So that was cool.
was
That
that
was
your
cool.
first time shooting guns, or in South Africa you do some shooting?
South Africa's CCW is legal, so we can conceal carry. I don't have one,
Okay.
but we definitely have like a gun culture in South Africa.
Yeah.
And I've shot some guns on farms and stuff, and then about a year or so, a guy here behind me and I went to a gun range and we just shot a bunch of
Oh,
guns, like,
nice.
but all single fire. So like we just shot like a few 12 gauges
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
a single fire 7.62 AKA and 223 and a few Glocks and stuff. But it was all single fire, all, you have like 10 bullets and that's
Mm-hmm.
about it per gun. So it's like just one of those experiences. It was still a lot of fun, but it does not compare even remotely to the shit that we got to do at the
In
firing
Texas.
range
Yeah.
that they have there. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like first time shooting fully auto,
Yeah.
which is absolutely crazy. And then I also shot that shoulder mounted 50 cal,
Oh, wow.
the Barrett, it
Yeah.
was
The
like a
sniper rifle.
super, yeah, special fancy Barrett that
Yeah.
was made for like shooting down helicopters and shit. It was really cool shooting that too. Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely amazing.
And I saw you experienced an In-N-Out burger, the burger joint.
Yeah, went to In-N-Out. That's like a classic thing that we just had to do in California. I don't know if it's
Absolutely.
anywhere else in US. Is it?
Only a
Is it just in California?
couple of states have it. Like Texas, there's
Yeah.
one in Texas. There's, I'm in the Northeast, New England area. We don't, there's none
Yeah.
of those up here. And anytime I go to Texas or Cali, that's a stop. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was such a culture shock, like coming from South Africa to US. It always is.
Mm-hmm.
Every single country I go to, I'm always like gobsmacked by the way that they do things.
Yeah.
Um, but we stayed at Donut Operator's house,
Oh, nice.
slept on his couch, and we got there and guns absolutely everywhere. It was insane. Um, and he got us Whataburger, so
Oh,
I got to eat
nice. Yeah.
Whataburger, which apparently is also like the big burger chain that you need to try. So I got to try In-N-Out and Whataburger.
Wow.
It was great. Yeah, you guys are definitely at the top of the game when it comes to burgers. That's for sure.
Excellent.
We definitely cannot compete. Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
So yes, because I also saw the tweet. Yeah, you were in, at his donut operator's kitchen or something like that. I was like, that's an
Yeah,
experience.
yeah, that was. No, it was absolutely amazing. The man has a massive hot sauce collection. He's got a whole fridge just filled with hot
Oh,
sauces, like
wow.
from top to bottom. It was absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, I was so giddy just seeing guns everywhere. I was like,
Yeah.
can I please touch them all? Can I please touch? So he let me handle a few guns. They were all safe and unloaded,
Yeah.
but just holding like 300 blackouts, like fully decked out, like
Mm-hmm.
to the nines. It was
Oh.
such a good experience. I slept on his couch, and on his couch, I remember I was sleeping, and they have a cat called Cheese.
Mm-hmm.
It's a ragdoll. It's the furriest little cutest cat I've ever seen. So he was like sleeping by my feet, and I was on the couch, and then my head was like touching something solid above me. I was like, what the hell is this? And it was a gun, just a full rifle laying behind my head
Oh.
on the couch. One of the ones that he showed me earlier, but it was just such a culture shock. Like
Yeah.
back here, guns are just
It's
not very legal
yeah.
in specific areas and specific ways of carrying. So yeah, just having like a full AR behind my
Yeah.
head on the couch was such a weird time.
Oh my lord.
But I loved every second of it.
Nice.
They were so accommodating and so friendly. It was great.
Excellent.
Yeah,
And
loved it.
that's what I hear about, that's one of the things I really like about the Tarkov community and whatnot is like there's, whether you're a smaller streamer or a larger streamer, you look at something like TwitchCon with the Tarkov meetup, or when they met, like when they at Veritas's sort of
Yeah,
place doing the stream from there, all levels
yeah,
and just everybody got along. It's just nice to see.
yeah. I think Tarkov is such a small game that like everybody who's a part of it and everybody that's like passionate about the game, they all are just super super accommodating. Like even we went to TwitchCon Paris as well
Yeah.
recently. um we got like a little get together. I think Pestily tweeted it out or whatever, and we kind of just all get together. Yeah, everyone is welcome at all times, and it's such a sense of community. It
Yeah.
feels like you're a part of something, which feels really really great.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right. So when you're not editing, you're not, you're not doing anything with Ghost Pixel. What do you like to do away from, computers?
Ooh, I'm a big sleeper. No, I'm kidding. I don't really do much else than work. It's kind of weird, but like I go to bed at like 3, and then I wake up at like 10, and then I try and get into the office at like 11,
Yeah.
and then 12. Okay, 12. They're like sniggering behind me. 12, 1 p.m., maybe 3 p.m. And then we work until like midnight or 1 or whatever,
When do you get out on the
until we eat again.
motorcycle?
Yeah, so my motorcycle is like the only thing that actually gets me out. We haven't really gone for a ride very very often. Guy is the other friend of mine that has a bike, and we try to do as many rides as possible. But we've been slacking. We've been slacking hard on that the last year or so. But yeah, South Africa is an absolutely incredible place to ride, and our roads are beautiful and the views are gorgeous. I think 10 months one of the 7 wonders of the world. Yeah. So it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's such a great time, and the weather is always nice. So yeah, motorcycling is definitely one of those, and then traveling as much as I can,
Nice.
seeing places, and yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Yeah, I watched your motorcycling vlog that you put together, and the footage looked
Oh
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's the first and the last one I did. I haven't done any since. Every single time I upload something on my YouTube channel, I'm like, I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this again, and then I just never do. I just don't have the time or yeah. I feel like when I did upload, it was because I didn't really have anything else to do.
Yeah.
So I'm uploading. But I'm more interested in the technicalities of content than the actual content, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and like I said, I don't have time to game, so I don't have time to get content to be able to edit it, to be able to upload it myself. So whenever I do go out and do stuff, like when we went to Paris recently for TwitchCon, we filmed everything, and we're trying to like put a little vlog together, and that always excites me, and it always makes me happy that like I get to share personal experiences with other people. And I think that's a main reason why content creators like creating content. It's sharing moments with other people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or sharing ideas or sharing conversations, and I'm still a big supporter and lover of that concept of like sharing your experiences with other people.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. It's just I don't have much time these days, that's all. Yeah.
So let me ask you, as a motorcyclist, you come to Connecticut where I live, people stop at the border who are riding motorcycles, and they take their helmets off and they ride with no helmets.
Never.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing
That's
to
suicidal. I can't. No, I can never. There's this concept called ATGAT, all the gear, all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer of that. Like if there's some scary stats of like 70% of all crashes, or that's an arbitrary number. I don't know what the number is, but a percentage of all crashes happens in like a mile from your house or something.
Oh,
so
wow.
like even if you're just going to the shops, always wear all your gear. Like yeah, I can't think of a more scary thing than getting into a motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
So I want to be geared up at all times.
Absolutely.
Like protect my spine, protect my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's too scary to me. But yeah, I mean, props to those guys. Like, do what you want with your life. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, go for it. Whatever.
Yeah. No, when we first moved here from Canada, it's like Canada, everyone wears a helmet, on the
safety.
Yeah, but here we're driving down, and guys on their crotch rockets, no helmet, t-shirt and shorts. It's
oh my God, no!
Just a bee hitting you in the head would be just like
exactly
wild.
right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that those injuries of like literally getting graded on tarmac, I can't. Just the image of that, I don't want to. No, Kevlar, please. Kevlar everywhere. Yeah, absolutely.
So one more quick question on content creation. What's your take on AI and the tools that are out there? Are you guys starting to use any of it, or?
Oh yeah. We try to. I use what's it called? ChatGPT as much as I can. So like whenever I don't know something, I ask that man.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT does a great job of like really just giving you anything. I think also for content creators, not necessarily editors, but AI is an absolutely amazing tool if you need ideas.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can just say, give me ideas, give me 5 ideas on how to blah 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 blah, and it just spits out stuff. And even if you don't use all of it, just having that little bit of feedback
Mm-hmm.
to be able to be like, okay, I can bounce off of those ideas, or I can get I can come up with different alterations of
Yep.
those things. That's always fantastic help, just having that input from, even if it's AI, it doesn't really
Exactly.
matter where it's coming from, as long as you're getting stimulated creativity. And then we use the Photoshop beta, which
Mm-hmm.
is got some like generative fill
Yep.
options and stuff. We use that every now and then. But for actual video editing, everything's done by hand. We
Nice.
don't use any AI.
Yep.
There's we're just not there yet. Like, trust me, I'm all for doing stuff easier and not harder. It's just video editing AI just isn't there yet.
Nope.
Especially not for like Tarkov content.
Yep.
Like, I know for like talking head videos, like podcasting specifically,
You
like
could
maybe
chop
for
it up.
you,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like AI stuff that can help you with yeah, camera switching and
Yeah.
cutting off cutting the audio to make sure that there's no dead space and stuff like that. I know AI tools really help with that, but for the kind of edits that we're doing, there doesn't really exist anything
Yeah.
yet. So it's all done by hand. It's all custom. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like ChatGPT, even just helping for just sparking some ideas or rephrasing certain
Exactly.
words or
Exactly.
rephrasing like YouTube title. I want to do this, and then it's okay, yeah, and just it
Yeah.
helps. Little guidance here and
Yeah.
there.
It sounds insane, but yeah, like off of the topic of AI and like just getting input and getting like a creative stimulus from other angles and other
Mm-hmm.
people and stuff, I would highly recommend all creatives in any field to get a group of people together. It doesn't even matter if they're necessarily in your field or not. Like video editors can chat
Yeah.
with um, visual artists, can chat with music producers. It's like just having these two guys in the office right now,
Yep.
like they're sharing an idea right now.
Right.
I don't know what the hell they're talking about, but it's definitely it's definitely stimulating to just have someone else's opinion,
Exactly.
even if that person is AI.
Yep.
So yeah, use all the tools at your disposal, and make sure that you're not an island,
Right.
because being an island's bad usually. You can't make much
No.
progress without any other external input. So
No.
for sure, yeah.
Very true. So now, any goals? Any big plans for this year for you or Ghost Pixel?
Um, for Ghost Pixel, we want to try and expand. I need to hire more people, so I need to do that. We're kind of out, like I said, we're just working 24/7 to try and keep up with demands.
Yeah.
Um, and we're super humbled by it. We're so happy that we have the opportunities that we have, and the creators that we're working with are absolutely amazing. And we love their content and we love working with them. It's just a lot, so we want to
Right.
try and expand, and we want to do it in a smart way. We don't waste time and waste energy and resources. We just don't have much. So
Yep.
I'm still so new to like the whole business side of things. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm trying to like learn as quickly as I can to like catch up with the reality of things.
Yeah.
And yeah, so hiring people, just expanding slowly, and guys just saying, yeah, God knows that. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm trying my best here, and I don't really always know the answers and stuff, but we're trying to expand, and personally, I'm moving to Scotland, like I said, so that's a big change,
Yeah.
and the dynamic is going to change a lot. There's going to be an empty seat in the office here, and I'm going to have to manage these guys and
Yeah.
do things in a way where we can keep up with stuff, but I'll be remote,
Yep.
so it's
Nice.
going to be a bit tough. Yeah.
So you made it to the end of the pod. You survived, the Tarnox podcast. Before I let you go,
Nice.
though, like with everybody
Yes.
who's been on before you, I asked them to shout out somebody that they think would have a good story to tell on the pod.
Ooh, see, I don't have a list of people that you already had on, so I
That's
might
all
be
right. I'll
like double tapping
throw
people
them out
here.
and I'll tell you if they've been on or not.
Okay. Huh. Will, have you had Will on?
Will,
Will is one of my no, no, no. So his name is his tag is a sarcastic Brit.
no, I have not.
You haven't. He's a fellow editor.
Okay.
He is the guy that. So I gotta give love to my editor friends. He is a guy that got hired with me
Mm-hmm.
to work with Pestily for the first time, and then he left a little bit earlier. So we've been working together, and he's been managing really big content creators like Juicy and a few others. So he's been managing people more on
Mm-hmm.
like the managing side of
Oh, okay.
things. Um, and he's been working with brands, and so like brand integration into content.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a bunch of different ways of making money, and brand and ads is one way,
Mm-hmm.
sponsorships. So he's been dealing with that side of things a little bit more, and then he also does a bunch of QA things and um, yeah, management in general. So
All right.
I think he'll be a great fit for this. Yeah, for
Excellent.
sure.
All right. And do you want to, like you just said,
Awesome.
do you want to shout out any of your editor friends that people may not know do some great work for, some creators?
Um, yeah, so Ghost Pixel, obviously, please. Definitely get in contact with us. I'm sure that you'll put the website
Yep.
somewhere. Um, the other guys that I've worked with in the past, all of them, Boomer, Boomer's a great editor, really good friend of mine. Narfa, absolutely spectacular. The quality of his effects are absolutely mind-blowing. He's I don't know if he's available right now, but he's still working with Pestily full time. So he's got his plate full for sure, but he's an amazing guy. And then Brit that I just spoke
Yep.
about as well.
Excellent.
And then everybody in the office here, yeah, they're really great guys.
Well, Frankie,
Yeah.
thank you so much for doing this. It was wonderful to meet
Thanks,
you.
Barry. I appreciate it. Yeah, you too.
Best of luck with Ghost Pixel. Good luck on the
Thank you. Thank
move.
you.
And thank you again.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Barry. I appreciate it.